and we're going to talk the complicated family dynamics of Supernatural, Lost, and Dexter with a person that I personally used to hate or love at the same time in my childhood. Please welcome Mark Pellegrino. Got some, intimate questions, but that seems like a rock and roll atmosphere right now.
Yeah, holy crap, that speaker's right in my ear.
It is. All right, I don't know where to start, Mark, but all of the TV series that we're gonna go into deeper, Lost, Supernatural, Dexter, they're all kind of about messy relationships and messy families, right? And they're all...
I like it, baby.
That's why everybody likes it, I think. Why do you like it? And why do you think it makes audiences connect?
I think we all come from messy situations, right? So I think everybody can identify with the messy family situation, and then they like to see how their heroes come out of that messy situation. If their heroes come out of that situation, well, maybe you can too. So that's what I think.
Which was the messiest one?
The messiest family?
The messiest family that you ever taken part in?
Yeah, but I mean, Supernatural is a pretty fucked up family, right? I mean, I couldn't say Dexter just because, my character, that was pathological and not a very good father and a drug addict and couldn't keep a job. But that pales in significance to the absentee father that is God, who's writing everybody's script for them in the worst possible terms. No mercy, no compassion for anybody. Completely absentee. No mom in my world, by the way, and I think everybody does need a mom and a dad to help them become well-rounded people. And brothers who hated me. Right? All of my brothers hated me and rejected me. So that's a pretty terrible family dynamic, I would say. Absentee dad, no mother, brothers who hate you, and have ostracized you from the family permanently.
And that is both like cosmic and vaguely real at the very same time, right?
It's real. It's real. I think anybody can relate to having sibling issues. I know I can relate to having no father. I had no father in my life growing up. That's a devastating thing for anybody to grow up with, especially a young man. Or having no mom in your life, that's a devastating thing to grow up with. Having brothers or sisters who freaking hate you, that's hard. How many people here have great relationships with their brothers and sisters? What? How many people here?
Everybody.
How many people here beat the fuck out of your brother and sister, or get the fuck beat out of them by their brother or sister? Yeah, come on, raise your hand. Don't fuck around. Yeah, see, look at that. It's not even Steven, so that's not bad. You're still raising your hand, but you're like, fuck.
All right. Speaking of Lost, you also have a weird relationship with your brother.
Oh, Lost, yeah. I didn't think about that, yeah. I mean, that's a toxic relationship, too. How many people here saw Lost? So you guys know, when you guys saw the family dynamic with my mom, did you remember my mom? Completely psychotic.
She's not even your mom, actually.
Was she? I don't remember.
She killed your real mom.
Oh, there you go.
And then adopted you.
There you go. So, I mean, it was so traumatic, I blocked it out of my own consciousness. Yeah, kills my real mom. She's a psychotic fanatic who embeds in my mind the same kind of fanaticism, while my brother, the man in black who's supposed to be the bad guy, just wants to be free. And for that, what do?
You're forced to be responsible for the island.
I wasn't forced. I chose that duty upon myself. But I expected him to do the same, I guess. Didn't respect his autonomy and threw him down in a cave, and he became the fucking smoke monster.
And a man in black.
Well, he was the man in black before.
Yeah, beforehand, yeah. Your relationship with your mother, and what do you think? How did that make the people you become along with your brother in the series?
And Lost? Oh, I mean, I think I swallowed the Kool-Aid. I mean, did you ever see, what is that movie? Did you guys ever see the movie Frailty?
I haven't personally.
You have?
I haven't.
Oh, you haven't? it's a really cool horror movie. I recommend it. If anybody's a horror fan, it's a horror movie basically, where this dad, who's a mechanic, has two sons, and he has a vision while he's working on the cars that the Archangel Michael comes down to him and says, "You must smite demons in the world." And he gives him the power to find out who's a demon and who isn't. And right, when he touches your hand, he can feel that you're a demon. And just by that information, he kills you. All right? So one brother thinks he's out of his mind, the other brother thinks he's completely, the mouth of God, doing the work of God. Well, I mean, that's sort of the situation that I think the man in black, otherwise known as Barry, if you saw the last scene, and Jacob find themselves with somebody who is of that ilk, that fanatic, that one person doesn't bond with and the other person does, and what a horrible love triangle that is.
The famous episode from Lost, Across the Sea, it kind of disappointed some fans because there was no mystery anymore. I've heard those reviews and read them on the internet yet while preparing, so it was a disappointment for some. For some, it was finally a relief to find out what the island is and what it's about. What was your personal reaction when you first read the script?
Well, I had no investment in the show. I still haven't seen Lost.
Really?
This isn't going out anywhere on the internet, is it?
Yeah, because I was about to ask how it really ends, but we're going to skip the question.
Okay, well, no, I mean, I saw the ending, but I didn't see any of the other stuff. So I was neither shocked, nor surprised, nor disappointed, nor elated by what I read in the script. I just thought it was actually a good script, because that character, Richard, right?
Which guy you're referring to?
In that story, Across the Sea.
I think it was Richard. I saw it like 10 years ago as well. So
yeah, but I'm just blanking out on his name now.
Let's leave the name out. Just
no, because now I need the name. But anyway, it was such a great episode for him. I think he was nominated for an Emmy for that episode. So I mean, it was so action packed, and it was all about how he became immortal, and it solved a lot of mysteries, I think, with respect to the fandom of his character. He was so good in it. Nestor Carbonell, thank you very much. Nestor's, it was a great episode for him. So, I don't know, I didn't like it. I thought it was great.
So that's the way you approach your roles, pretty much. You like the story, you don't get invested in the whole show, right?
Sometimes I do. I mean, usually after the fact. But I'm glad I didn't get invested in Lost, because I think I would have felt a lot of pressure to do something and be something, since Jacob was supposed to be the god of the island and was supposed to have all the secrets. Had I known that going in, I might have been, shitting my pants. But I didn't know that. And so to me, Jacob was just, I just treated him as Jesus the carpenter, the guy that anybody could identify with. Not as a god, but just as a God who walks among us, That's the ideal of Jesus, right?
Pretty much, I think, yeah. What did you know about Jacob coming into the role?
Nothing.
All right, so how did that happen?
I think Michael Emerson came up to me when I came onto the set to get fitted, for my costume, my one costume. I don't know, I wore more than one costume, but the costume that I wear on the island. And he said, "Oh, you are a new Jacob." And that's when I discovered what part I was playing. But I had no real sense of the significance of that part of the mythology of the show until much later. And I didn't need it. I think I would have been confused by it or befuddled by it. Just to be simple and human, I think was the best choice I could make through that show.
The roles are kind of different, though, the roles that we're talking about. I mean, the guy in Dexter, he's very real. Like, it seems we know a guy like that. Jacob is a little mystical, I'd say, or something. Is there a difference? And what kind of a difference is that in terms of experience for the actor?
I mean, I try to be a human being in everything that I do. And Jacob, if it's mystical, it's only because that's your understanding of the narrative and that's you editorializing what I'm doing. Because you understand me to be a immortal being, then you sort of put that energy on me. But the idea that I had, and that Jack Bender, the executive producer and one of the directors of the show had, was Jesus the carpenter, the man who walks among us, not the God, the man. And Paul Bennett was just, from my perspective as an actor, I was just playing a guy who wanted to get back together with his family, wanted to repair the damage he had done by being narcissistic and foolish and a drug addict. However, there was now somebody else in the life of my ex-wife that was a usurper. He was taking over the part of being a father and a husband. And I was trying to get back what was mine. I think anybody could relate to that idea. Now, you might not do it in the way that Paul Bennett did it, because he didn't really have the best methods of getting what he wanted. But you can identify with that basic sense of, being on the outside and looking in and wanting to fix something that you broke, right?
Dexter, personally, was my favorite TV series ever. How did you feel about? Yeah, it still is. I think it still is. How did you feel about the series?
Well,
and was it obvious, because you were there at the beginning? Was it obvious it's going to become such a big hit that people want to rewatch and go back to and then get new seasons to watch?
So I read the pilot episode. Right? They wanted me originally to read for some part that just went for one episode, which I said no to. But after I read the episode, I walked out to my wife. I think she was out in the living room, and I said, "It's the end of civilization as we know it." She said, "What? What the fuck? What happened?" I said, "I just read a pilot for a show where the hero is a serial killer." That's the end of the fucking world. Because in reality, serial killers are the lowest, the worst of the dregs of humanity. There's really nothing redeeming about a serial killer. They are psychosexual, homicidal maniacs, and they are complete and total losers. And to make this, like the scum of humanity, a man that everybody would be rooting for, I thought was the end of the world as we know it. However, as the actor in me, I justified it because he had impulses that he was born with, right? We all have those kinds of things in us. But his father taught him a code of values, a code that helped him control his impulses and channel them in more or less socially acceptable or normative pathways that weren't as sick. In fact, would actually do quote unquote good in the world. So I like the idea of a guy living by values and principles that he didn't necessarily naturally fit in with, but he knew they were the right things to do and did them. So, sort of right things, right? Killing people is fucked up.
Well, yeah.
But if you're gonna do it to bad guys.
He gets involved with in situations later on in the show, but what makes Dexter so lovely?
It makes him so lovely?
Yeah, that's the word that I'd use. And later on, they were doing those ads that he's, America's favorite serial killer, and he really was.
Is that fucking nuts? Because I'm like, yeah, why not? I fall into it too. I just think people like the bad guy. They like, and the fact that he had a character and values that people could root for, and he's fucking up bad guys. So lots of people can get behind that. You can skirt the law and be fucked up like Batman, right? Batman's a fucked up dude. He's fucked up, and I love him. I love him because he turns all that darkness on the bad guys. And shit, why not? We like guys like that.
And it's probably what black humor does as well, isn't it? In Supernatural, Lucifer's kind of funny as well.
Yeah, well, the thing about Lucifer in later Supernatural episodes that I think is good is you laugh at Lucifer. You don't necessarily laugh with Lucifer. You laugh at him. And in my own personal philosophy, I think evil is very weak. We all grow up thinking, fuck the devil. He's so strong. He's so scary. He's almost as strong and scary as God. That's not the way it works in real life. When you think about bad guys in real life, They are fucked up, weak, irrational. They steal shit. They rely on you to be the productive, rational, strong person, and they parasitize you. That's what all fucking evil people do. They're like vampires, right? They're weak, and they need you, the strong person, the virtuous person, to live. That's what I call a weak motherfucker. So all evil fucking people are weak, right? Even though they try to project strength. And so the fact that we're laughing at the icon of evil, I think is great. Because you should laugh at evil. You shouldn't be afraid of evil, fucking laugh at it. Because it sucks and it's small.
I love the journey. Round of applause, really. Going back to the relationship with your brother, your, well, sort of evil brother, I'd say, in Lost. What do you think makes the relationship so toxic and so tragic? What's the most tragic thing in that relationship that's beyond repair?
Jacob is the most tragic thing in that relationship, I think, because he won't let the guy be free. And I would sit on the beach, and when I could hear Titus saying the lines, it was really hard to hear over the waves and stuff, but when I could hear him, I'd be like, fuck, what's wrong with that? I actually think he wanted to be free. He wanted to see what was out there in the world. He was curious. He had a mind, and he wanted to explore. Fuck yeah, get out there, dude. If that were me, I'd be like, go, man, have fun. Come back and tell me what you've learned, because I'm going to stay here, kind of stay here. But I would kick him out there in the world and let him be. And Jacob could not see that. He couldn't countenance somebody else being different than him, right? Having different values and maybe not feeling the same compulsion to be the dutiful son, right? And that to me that's the bad guy. That's the authoritarian in the room that won't let you be who you are.
But he thinks he's doing good.
All bad people think they're doing good. How many bad people do you know right now? Probably in office, we certainly have one in America, who thinks he's doing good and he's really a prick. Right? They all think they're fucking doing good.
So you're not a fan of the current administration?
Oh,
But you can laugh at it. That's probably
you can laugh
the only good thing about it.
We laugh a lot, and it should be laughed at. You should lampoon it and make fun of it as much as possible. Because, like I said, it's weak, it's stupid, it's silly, and you should laugh at it. And that robs it of its power. You know, when you push back on it like it's meaningful when it's not, that's when it puffs its chest up and thinks it's bigger than it is.
Is that the way we could save the world, maybe? Because it's going nuts.
Laugh at evil?
Yeah.
Yeah, man. Well, I mean, sometimes you gotta kick the fuck out of evil, too. You know, like sometimes evil just doesn't get the hit, we gotta fuck it up. But, you know, that's the last resort.
What did you find the most difficult, or who did you find, maybe out of the characters, most difficult to find empathy for? Which was the most difficult for you?
I don't think I've ever really had problems finding empathy for characters that I played, as repugnant as some of them may be, because as an actor you have to be on the team of your character, otherwise you'll play a caricature, right? You play this idea of a bad guy, as opposed to somebody who's, you know, trying to do the right things by their own idea of what's right. And, you know, the story shows that it's not the right thing, and he pays the price for it, one hopes, down the line, but he's still trying to muddle his way through, you know, so I'm always playing guys that are muddling their way through. I think the one evil character that I might have played that I might concede was evil was in a movie called Bad Turn Worse. Have you seen that movie? With Jeremy Allen White, and, right, he's a huge opposite the bear. And he was in it, and Mackenzie Davis, who's a very fine actor, was in it as well. A little movie we did, I played a character named Giff, and I am just a bad motherfucker. And that is a bad guy. Now in the film, they stole money from me and they lost it all. So I'm making them work for money, get my money back for me, basically. So there's that nominal sense of I'm doing something right, but I'm a very bad guy. I would say
You don't have it in you.
don't have it in me.
You're still doing something like sort of right, but you don't have it in you.
I mean,
really.
I'm getting back what's mine, presuming it was mine, but I'm doing it in a very, very bad way. In a very abusive way. They're using my power because they're kids.
Just like in Dexter.
Yeah, but Dexter was he was an archetypal kind of anti-heroic guy, right? I'm fighting for my kids and for a relationship with my wife. And against this guy he's a bad guy. We may be rooting for him, but he's not a good guy. I don't think anybody roots for the character gives. Watch that movie and you should tell me what you think. Bad Turn Worse. So I think
Bad Turn Worse.
Bad Turn Worse.
Okay, we have a recommendation for you. As an actor, as I understand, you don't have to justify the character to empathize with it, right?
Yeah. I mean, the empathy, I think, justifies it, right? If as an actor, if you empathize with the character's struggle, or you find the virtue behind the vices that the character's practicing, then it'll justify itself. Does that make sense?
It does. And you became a husband, a father yourself. Did that experience, do you think, affect or change the way you look at characters, the way you empathize with them in different kinds of situations, in different roles?
Yeah, I mean, that definitely changes. I'm a stepdad, and stepdad is a very interesting place to be in the family hierarchy. But it helped me to understand. It helped me to understand not only a lot about myself as a man, but also about my own stepfather growing up. And helped me to understand how unbelievably difficult it is to be a good parent, right? And how that also helped me to put my relationship with my mother in perspective. I mean, when you become a parent, I imagine it straightens out a lot of preconceptions that you grew up with respect to your own parents. You become a lot more understanding of what they probably had to go through when they were, raising you and living life at the same time. It makes you grow up too, because you're working for values that are wider than you, bigger than you, and you see the world now in a bigger way than you did when you were just a simple person. So your worldview gets more expansive, I think, and that helps you, I think, become a deeper character actor.
Where are you winking at?
I wasn't making. I was just.
You got your work.
Sharing them all. No, my wife is over there. I'm talking. I'm meeting the guy here.
Okay.
We got a good team. Just hanging out.
Okay, got it. Speaking of your own father, your fans helped you find a real father.
Yeah, right. You know that story?
Tell us more.
So when I was like 22 years old, I went on a vacation with my girlfriend to Hawaii. I get back and I'm showing my mom a bunch of pictures. And she looks at this one picture and she goes, "God, you look like Jerry." I was like, "My dad's name is Bill." She says, "Yeah, well, here's the story." And so,
You were 22.
I was 22.
Okay.
All right, now Bill had checked out of my life when I was like 3 or 4. I had no real memory of him at all. And I think he sent me a check for $100 when I graduated high school. So he was never in my life. And so I was like, what the fuck? So here's what she said. They used to fight all the time, Bill and my mom. And they finally separated from each other. And she worked at a bank, and at the time she started having an affair with this 6'2", blonde-haired German CEO of foreign acquisitions or whatever for the bank. She's like, oh, he speaks a lot of languages, and he was a jazz musician, and then I guess they had a relationship for a while, and then she got back together with Bill, and so that stopped that relationship. Now, Bill Pellegrino is about 5'7" and Sicilian. I'm 6'3" and blonde hair, blue eyed. So, needless to say, I never looked like anybody in the Pellegrino family. So I always thought something was weird. So she tells me his name is Gerald Goler, and she tells me all that information about him, and I don't do anything about it until COVID. And then around COVID, I don't know why I did this. I don't know if I was bored or what the fuck happened to me, but I just went on social media and I'm like, who wants to help me find my biological father? And my fans were like, I'll do it! Like a lot of people, you know.
A lot of private detectives on.
Private detectives. So I gave it to one person who I pretty much knew on social media. She found my dad in an hour.
Oh wow.
So what the fuck was I doing all this time? Like,
brought up your doorstep?
No. It's an obituary, first of all, so he passed away in 2008. But she says, well, didn't you say there was a bunch of kids in his family? I said, yeah, I thought so, because he was married at the time that he had an affair with my mom. People were sketchy back in the 60s, man, I gotta tell you. And so, but he was estranged from her, but he had like 4 kids with her. And so I said, yeah, that, in the obituary they only mentioned he survived by a daughter and he lived in Orinda, California, which is about 300 miles north of where I live. I was like, that can't be him. I think he had more than 1 kid. She comes back a half an hour later, oh, it's him, and here's where his kids are. She said, yeah, he's got kids. One of my brothers lives in New York, and then I have 2 brothers and a sister in Montreal. And they're all polyglots. So they all speak 4 or 5 languages. Anyway, so I actually got my sister's email because she was a realtor, and I sent her an email like, look, I'm not crazy. You might think I'm not stalking you. It's not weird. Like I showed her my IMDb page and showed that I wasn't, this weirdo. I'm like, I think you may be my sister. And at first we started talking back and forth, and all the timelines matched up. Like the wins, the whys, and the wheres all matched up. And I'm like, let's just do a fucking DNA test to get this over with. We did a DNA test, and she's my sister. And I'm like, fuck. I gotta tell you, I'm an individualist, so I never thought like I needed a tribe or a family that much. I fucking cried. I was like, oh my god, I have a sister. I have a sister. And I don't even have 2 sisters and 3 brothers. What the fuck? I started going, I just broke down. And me and Claudia, we talk a lot. We text each other, almost every day. I talked a little bit to my brother Christian, who I met for the first time last year. It was an awkward conversation to have with that part of the family because our dad was married to their mother at the time that he was boffing my mom. And so, but they were like, it's okay, it's not your fault. They were really forgiving and really nice, even though the ones at Montreal don't contact me. It's only Christian that contacts me, so they're full of shit. But yeah, I have a family now, and I've only had it for like 5 years or so, but it feels pretty good to have brothers and sisters. I tell my sister all the time, fuck, I wish I were your brother growing up, because I would have been the best fucking big brother. I would have been such a good fucking big brother. I was a good brother to my big brother. I used to beat the fuck out of people. I mean, like, jump on their face, just annihilate them. Fuck with my family.
So, do you hang out often now with your brothers, sisters? No, touch?
No, I mean, I do with Claudia. She lives a few hundred miles away from me, so we talk a lot by text. My older brother Christian in New York, I saw him when I was in Washington, D.C. last year, and we had lunch together, and I met his lovely wife, and we talk from time to time, mostly around the holidays. I don't really have any contact with my 2 other brothers and my sister in Montreal, unfortunately. Maybe that'll change, but they don't seem to inclined to communicate with me, and the other 2 are perfectly happy to, so I'm good with it.
You're all brothers and sisters, but you grew up in totally different settings. Do you find anything in common? Because that would be, a great comparison, like how your environment affects you and all that.
I mean, yeah, I think they have. Claudia has a really funny sense of humor, and she likes to laugh. I like to laugh, and we have a very similar sense of humor, so it's compatible in that way. I don't know that I've been around her enough to see all kinds of physical similarity. We look a lot like her kid. Looks like me when I was younger. Damien looks a lot like me. So there's that. You know what I mean? I don't know. It's still a story to be told. So I'll let you know as the years go on. If there's any more similarities.
But your first impression, as I understand, wasn't like, oh, we're so different.
No.
We got nothing to talk about. No, it wasn't.
No. And in fact, we had the same urges because she came out of the second marriage of my father, but she was more or less alienated from the other brothers and sisters, so she never really had a relationship with them and always wanted her brothers and sisters. And I was like, I always wanted brothers and sisters because I was an only child. And the only time kids came into my life was with my stepdad, and when his kids would come to visit in the summertime. And so I always felt, oh my God, I have a family. It was such an amazing feeling. It was fake, but it was an amazing feeling at the time. And so we both had that yearning to have brothers and sisters, and now we have it. So that's interesting that we both had that, I think.
We're gonna start the Q&A session, guys, in like 5 minutes. So we got a mic here in the hall. You can start lining up for that if you have any questions. And also about the photos, let's not take them here as Mark leaves, but we do have a hall specifically for that downstairs here in hall number 5. So there we're gonna provide you with really quality photos of any actor or guest that you'd like to have a photo with. Mark, let's talk about history. That's going to be my last question.
Okay.
You love history. You consider teaching it, right?
Yeah.
Tell us about history.
I mean, anybody here like history? All right. And you're not condemned to repeat it. I mean,
More people than the ones that love their brothers and sisters.
Yes. I don't know. History's fascinating. I mean, I like American history in particular. I like colonial history, and the American Enlightenment is my jam. That's my go-to, because I think it was a time of intellectual giants, and in America we were lucky to have that. There was a whole slew of them. They were, of course, men of very flawed premises, and our society at the time was fractured and fucked up in a lot of ways. But the ideas that they gave birth to at that time were eternal and amazing, and I think cross cultures, because we're all humans and we all have the same laws and moral laws and natural laws that we could and should live by, and I think they were better at articulating those laws than pretty much anybody before or since. I've been reading some great ones since, but I also like economics, and it's sort of my jam too, which is weird, for an actor. I feel like one of the reasons we're in the pickle that we're in, especially in the United States, is because nobody knows history. And so they keep fucking up and keep making the same stupid mistakes over and over again, misdiagnosing the illness and prescribing the poison that caused the illness to begin with. And it just keeps happening and happening and happening. And I think until our electorate at least gets a little bit more knowledgeable about the way things are, they won't know the way things should be. And they won't be able to prescribe the proper cures for what should be until they know what is and what was.
What's the greatest piece of writing of American Enlightenment? Is that the
The
Constitution?
Declaration of Independence.
Okay. What do you like about it? What's your favorite line or thought?
We hold these truths to be self-evident that all men are created equal and endowed by their Creator with certain unalienable rights, and among these are the rights to life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. Those are the moral linchpins of a decent society. No society has lived up to it, but America made those principles the fundamental principles of proper government. And the closer we get to them, the better we'll be.
Would you agree that?
Fuck yeah!
Would you agree that pretty much the only thing that we know for sure is that we're born free?
I wish we knew that for sure. I don't think people know that for sure. I really don't. Because we strive for slavery. We strive for iterations of other people controlling our lives, telling us what to do, how to act, how to be. reaching into our pocketbooks, taking our property. We even feel entitled to our own property. I mean, we literally live in a generation where the self-evident is now the self-evident isn't self-evident anymore, right? People are such deep skeptics about everything, whether you have free will, whether this thing exists even, is called into question. That's the end. And that's the complete dissolution of your rational faculty. When you can't think anymore or trust your rational faculty to enable you to understand reality, you're fucked. And that's one of the reasons we're so fucked. In America, at least, we have a culture that is dominated by irrationality and emotionalism. Nobody will tell you, do what you think. No, they tell you to do what you feel. Follow your heart. Yeah, really? I followed my heart into so many fucking disasters I can't even tell you what. If your heart isn't guided by your fucking head, you're done. And most people vote with this. They've never thought about the principles that they're voting for before. They don't think their way through an election, say, in America, speaking American. They feel their way through their politics. Don't feel your way through your ethics. Don't feel your way through your politics. Think. Use your brain. Ask yourself, are these principles true? Are they true? Are they good? And why? Don't you dare leave me! Okay.
She's going to ask a question.
I'm sorry.
She's getting deeper involved in our conversation now. all right, so just one moment. Your last insight about history, Henry. Does it go in circles? The problems that you're talking about, is that like we have them, we solve them, we'll have them again? Is that linear, or do we have progress?
We do, but we go back because we fail to recognize what's good and what isn't. We have, I think, a dominant moral code out there that keeps pushing us backwards. And a good moral code, rationally acquired moral code of individualism, rational self-interest, rational egoism, that nobody wants to embrace because it's too scary. And they've been told, if you are a rational egoist, it means you hate everyone else, you're a narcissist, you're malignant, you'll harm other people, you don't give a fuck about other people. Well, that's wrong. That's not true. Thinking that I'm a primary value and that all the values that I hold are decent and that I should actually pursue them doesn't hurt anybody else. But thinking that you should pursue my values and that I'm going to force you by law to do what I think is preferable or good, that's fucked up. Now, when we can get out of that notion, that I'm going to fix myself by making you do what I want you to do, maybe we'll be in a better place. We'll certainly be in a place where life won't be about conflict and a constant state of war and agita between human beings. If I'm just about, I'm going to make my life good, I'm going to fix myself, and then we can talk. But all we're going to have is a conversation. Maybe I can persuade you, maybe I can't. I'm certainly not going to vote somebody into power who's going to make you do what I want you to do because I think it's the proper way people should live. No, man, reach into your own fucking pocketbook and do what you want to do to help others. If that's your thing, do that. Does that make sense? Silence.
And it deserves a round of applause again, I think.
Position heal thyself. You be moral first, and then worry about other people's shit. You be moral first, and then worry about other people's shit, and then talk. Don't fucking.
Pellegrino's president.
Yeah, baby. If somebody wants to be president, if they want to be president of the United States or president of any country, fucking don't vote for him. Seriously, that should be the first disqualifier right there. If you want to have power over other people, get the fuck away from it. It's one of the things I loved about George Washington. He was the first president of the United States. One of the great things about him that made him a great man, even acknowledged by King George III as one of the greatest men in history. Why? He didn't want to fucking be president. And he voluntarily gave up the presidency after 2 terms. That's why it was for so long, before they had to make a constitutional amendment, everybody just followed the precedent of 2 terms until Franklin Roosevelt. All right, because he gave it up. And at the time, he was offered the kingship. They wanted to make him king of America. They wanted to make him the president for life. And he said no. And at the time, the rest of the world was like on pins and needles, wondering if he was going to accept this kingship or not. And King George says if he gives up power now, he's the greatest man in the world. And he did. That's the kind of guy you want for president. Not some douchebag who wants power over you and, like our president, thinks he's great at everything. He's really not very good at anything at all. And
There's some kind of a role.
I don't even read a book. That's despicable to me too. If you're a statesman, read a fucking book. Please.
Well, now it's too late.
No, it is. I have to live through it. So do we all.
We've got other stuff to do. I'd love to talk political philosophy and politics with you, since I recently worked in politics as well, for hours and hours and hours. And maybe, just maybe, we have different questions right there. So let's start with the Q&A session. Please introduce yourself and ask a question.
Okay, carry on, my weird son. That's a really random question. Do you believe we live in simulation or not?
Do I believe we're in a simulation? Fucking Matrix, man. Fucking Matrix, fuck philosophy up for everyone. No.
All right.
Do you? Yes.
Science, physics, the constants. Why does the speed of light is exactly like this?
Why what?
Why is the speed of light is exactly what it is? It's not plus minus, it's constant.
That's not a proof to me.
It is for me. I'm not here to prove to
Your
you.
standard of proof is really low. Okay.
The thing with such questions is that sometimes I think we ourselves don't know how much we are able to know. Isn't it?
Well, true. I mean, it's limitless technically for us, and we know very little. I mean, individually we know very little. For some of us, there's a great deal of knowledge in this room, collectively, but us as individuals, we know only a teeny, minuscule portion of the universe. But hey, it's my universe. I know what I know, and you know what you know, and we can learn from each other. Go ahead. You're very tall. I mean, you told me I was tall.
Yeah, I did.
Yes.
I was very starstruck, so I said the first thing that came into my mind, so I'm sorry.
Yeah, just like me.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Anyway, this is going to be a very stupid question, but in my social circles we're very big supernatural fans, and they know I'm here, and if I don't ask this, they are going to kick me. So, I know that I'm not crazy, I know the difference between the character and the actor, but I'm asking you as Lucifer. So, what fictional character would be able to outdrink Lucifer?
No, there's no fictional character that could outdrink Lucifer. None. And in life, when I used to drink, I could outdrink every single one of my friends, too. I don't drink anymore, thank Dad, but when I did, whew, yeah. No, nobody, who could outdrink Lucifer? Do you have any idea of somebody, of an inkling of somebody who could?
No, but that was kind of an inside joke.
Oh.
Because we used to party a lot, at university.
Yeah.
And on Monday someone comes very hungover and says, I think I outdrunk the devil. And I'm like, no, you didn't.
Okay.
So now I have solid proof
Yes, you
from
do.
the devil himself.
Yes, you do. Now you can take it back. So you can't do it, buddy.
All right. So she's here. She hasn't left, and she has a question.
Hello.
Hello. I was wondering if you could tell us how you came to play Lucifer in Supernatural. Like the process, how did you decide to do it? I was really interested.
So Jeremy Carver, who was the executive producer at the time, asked my managers if I wanted to play Lucifer. And my managers asked me, and I said, yeah. Because that's an iconic part, right? Like Hamlet is an iconic part. Somebody asks you to do Hamlet, you're like, oh fuck yeah, I want to do Hamlet. because it's one of those things you can put your particular signature on, and then it becomes, you know, Pellegrino's Lucifer, Al Pacino's Lucifer, right? You have all these Lucifers that you can choose from. Or Tom Ellis, I don't want to do Tom Ellis, you can choose from. And likewise, it's, you know, same thing with an iconic role like Hamlet. It's Pellegrino's Hamlet, or it's Daniel Day-Lewis's Hamlet, or, you know, everybody puts their own spin on it. I was fortunate not to have to read for it. So I didn't have to go through the audition, I didn't have to go to network or studio, any of the stuff that you have to do when you normally audition for something, which is cool. But, you know, I just did a show called Vault Rising, which is the prequel to The Boys. I don't know if you guys watch The Boys. Well, anyway, that I had to audition for. And this is Eric Kripke's thing, right? They gave me a part before. And so my manager said, you just auditioned for the part against everyone you've ever auditioned against in your life. That's how crazy it is in Hollywood right now. Like, it's so crazy in Hollywood. They're producing so little that, you know, everybody's vying for very few, you know, roles that are out there. And I couldn't believe it. I'm like, really? Eddie Kripke worked with me for freaking years, as everybody there knows me, and I still, holy fuck, this is hard. But it is hard. I mean, I don't think there's a lot of competition when you're a young actor. When you're in your 20s and 30s, most 20 and 30-year-olds suck. They just suck, right? And so most of them are taking up oxygen, right? But when you're like my age, we've all been nominated for shit. We've won awards. We're here for the long term. We're here until we croak on stage, basically, or in front of the camera. And so it's a lot stiffer competition. You know, those people are serious. We're serious, you know. And it's not so much with 20-somethings. So I discovered that the competition is pretty interesting at this age.
Thank you.
Yeah. Well, have a fair question. I'm all over.
All right, next.
Sorry, but this will have to be the last question.
What? What if we don't want to leave?
Ever.
What if we choose to stay? Fuck evil. I love that.
Hello. Might be a little off topic, but as an actor, what is your take on series or movies diverging from the source material and how that might affect the relationship with the character?
Do you have an example?
Not exactly. Maybe like a book has some kind of plot points, and those plot points are somehow changed in a movie or a series that make you dislike the character you liked before.
Oh, really? Oh, I see where you're going. I can't think of anything that has been so radically changed as to make me like hate a character that I once loved. At the moment, I can't think. Huh? What? I thought somebody said that. Was that just inside my head?
He was inside mine as well, actually.
Oh, okay.
Maybe we're both crazy.
Oh yeah, the voices. Yeah, I can't think of any characters offhand that, you know, they changed them so much from the book or whatever I was into to make me dislike them. I mean, The Boys, you know, the graphic novel. I didn't really like the graphic novel at all, and I thought Kripke made that show amazing. It's far better than the graphic novels, in my opinion. And I can say the same thing about The Walking Dead. Now, The Walking Dead had a lot of different vibes and a lot of different story mixes in it, and but I don't think they changed anything so much as to make me have gone from one feeling to another about a character. I'd have to think about that. I really can't think of any shifts like that. I mean, I'm reading The Iron Heel right now by Jack London. It's a horrific book. I mean, it's very well written, but it's a very bad book. But if I would buy the rights to that book and completely change it and make Jack London very mad. Read that book.
Thank you.
All right, thank you so much, everyone. We're so sorry we can't take any more questions because we got to free up the hall for other panels and other talks. It was Mark Pellegrino, ladies and gentlemen.